Welcome to The Abundance Journey, the show that helps spiritual entrepreneurs create an abundance mindset that accelerates revenue. Here's your host, the Abundance Ambassador, Elaine Starling.
Are you truly living your life at your full potential, at the top of your game? Now, here's what I'm talking about. Are you someone who really wants to make a difference in the world? So whatever it is you're doing, you know that you create impact that ripples out far beyond those that you touch. Your dedication, compassion, and commitment to serving by using your skills, talents, and abilities really compels you forward. I mean, it makes you jump out of bed in the morning with joy and delight to witness another blessed day unfolding to support your dreams and spiritual growth. Does that sound like you? Well, it really can be you. And it definitely sounds like our guest today. I am super excited that we get to chat with Christian Ray Flores. This guy is super busy, so we are incredibly fortunate to have him here today. Let me tell you a little bit about Christian. You're going to be equally blown away. He's an entrepreneur, an international recording artist, a philanthropist, and a high-performance coach. Now, his journey is really unusual. He started as a child refugee in Chile. From there, Christian found himself entertaining millions of people as a pop star in Eastern Europe, which then led Christian to create philanthropic projects in the US and around the world. With a master's degree in economics, fluency in 4 languages, is this guy a slacker or what? And he's been a pastor for 25 years. He absolutely loves sharing what he's learned. And that's why Christian is a high-performance coach for purpose-driven professionals, empowering leaders to reach their full potential and stay at the top of their game. Christian, welcome to the Abundance Journey.
Elaine, this is such a great introduction. The bar has been set high. I'm grateful. I'm delighted. I've definitely been looking forward to being here with you.
Oh, this is such a blast because this is a really important topic. You know, living life at your full potential. Because honestly, I think people just don't realize how powerful they are and what a difference they can make.
I totally agree. I think most of us do not realize just how much we have to offer to the world.
Oh, so true. Well, before we jump into this, because trust me, I'm ready to leap in with both feet. I want to make sure we connect our energy together. Yours, mine, with everyone in our audience, as well as the God of our understanding. So we're going to do 2 things that really helps connect our energy. We're going to breathe together 3 times. And as we breathe in through the nose, think the words, I am. And as we breathe out through the mouth, think the word consciousness. So I'll remind you when we do that part. But I want to talk about what we do next. We're going to hold an intention. An intention is what we want to create together and how we want to feel about it. Now, you and I don't have a script. However, when we state an intention and then we hold it in silence for 78 seconds, we're letting the God of your understanding, I tend to call this the divine, we're getting them to lock in on the vibration of that intention so that through the course of our conversation, we actually create that together. It's almost like typing into a spiritual GPS, this is where we want to go. Thank you very much for helping us get there. So there are 2 things that I've learned to do that help me hold the course for 78 seconds of silence, because it can feel like a really long time. I'll usually pick 2 or 3 words out of the intention that feel expansive and uplifting and high vibration. And I'll repeat those 2 or 3 words to myself over and over again. And then the second thing I do is I pay attention to what's happening in my body, because sometimes I'll get goosebumps or I'll feel a rush of heat, or, you know, sometimes something hurts and then all of a sudden that dissipates and goes completely away. Whatever is happening in your body, that doesn't matter. All that is a sign that the divine has locked in on that vibration and you're ready to go. Okay, are you ready to play?
I am.
Excellent. Let's breathe together 3 times. Breathe in, I am. Breathe out consciousness. Breathe in, I am. Breathe out consciousness. Breathe in, I am. Breathe out consciousness. In love and light, we hold the intention that we choose thoughts, words, and actions that create a positive impact in the world, fulfilling our divine destiny so we enjoy lives of prosperity and delight. Thank you, divine. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It is done. We give thanks, and so it is. Wow, that was incredible. I don't know what your experience was like, but I saw ripples. I got the image of ripples, and they went all the way around the world. And there was just a sense of deep peace and tranquility. What was that experience like for you?
Same. I think tranquility was probably the word, and joy.
Yes, yes, tons of joy. Well, you've got a fascinating story. What got you started? How did you get from being a refugee to an incredible pop star to now this amazing performance coach?
Well, I think it's fascinating how much good and how much blessing and how much richness comes out of pretty dark situations, right? And that's basically the origin story for me was that, my parents they're interracial, right? So I'm an interracial kid. My dad's Chilean, my mom is Russian. I was born in Moscow. They wanted to live in Chile for the rest of their lives, and then everything was disrupted. There was a military coup. My dad ended up in a concentration camp. They tortured and killed a bunch of people. He was one of the lucky ones who got out. And we were refugees for a few months, United Nations refugee facility there. We got asylum in Germany. Then we went back to the Soviet Union at the time. This was Russia, still in the Soviet Union times. There's a lot of poverty there, a lot of lack, a lot of scarcity. Then my dad got a job in Africa. And Southeast Africa, the country's called Mozambique. And it was sort of a very mixed bag there because from one sort of point of view, it was the best childhood I could ever wish for because kids don't care about material things. They care about play. And I just had a lot of fun there. But a year in, there was a civil war that started. So we saw bombings and, really bad things. And also some scarcity as well there. And then back to the Soviet Union, my parents got divorced. It was very traumatic for me. And then even there, by the age of my, early 20s, 21, when the whole country collapses, right? The whole system, the Soviet system collapses. I see tanks in the streets again, attempted coup. So all of that stuff, all of that messiness eventually sort of actually created some incredible possibilities, qualities, I guess. And I love talking to people and explaining how you can become extraordinarily creative, extraordinarily flexible, anti-fragile, and successful in life, not in spite of your obstacles, but actually because of them. And I definitely directly attribute the stuff that I've been able to do in life to those formative years.
Wow. That just blows me away. I am so grateful, not that you went through all that you went through, but
Yeah.
that you came out the other side with such clarity
Yeah.
that the challenges we receive, it's not some judgment that we're a bad person or something like that. The challenges that we receive are truly there to help us grow on a spiritual level so that we can show up in the physical world at a much higher level. So we're creating impact and making a difference using our innate skills, abilities, talents, and passions. And boy, it sure sounds like you did.
And also, and the thing is not just that, it's your abilities are enhanced in massive ways, you know? So it's not just, and I think we think of bouncing back. I just wrote an article about this in my newsletter. Bouncing back is considered the right thing to do. I think it's not enough to bounce back. You don't bounce back, you get stronger, you fly higher, you go further. There's an art and a science to it. But the cool thing is that all of us have access to being able to do that in life.
So true. And, you know, it helps when you get a little bit of support and guidance along the way.
Yes.
Now, I ask all of my guests the same question, and I love that I've never had the same answer twice.
Okay.
What is it? Absolutely fabulous. So, given the kind of work that you do and your experience and your background and all that you've gone through, how do you define abundance?
Beautiful question. Abundance, I would say, is seeing the richness of life around us that is, in fact, of divine origin, right? I go on walks every day, except for today because it's below zero, below freezing rather, in Austin, Texas, which is very unusual. And one of the things that I do quite regularly is I take this walking meditation, right? And the walking meditation is I have this trail, maybe like 2-mile trail. And I try to sort of tune into the sounds and smells and colors and textures around me. And being somebody who is spiritual, I believe all of this life that is just, you become much more aware of just the variety of the vitality of everything around you. All of this is held together by God. And to bridge that, what I think of, okay, if all of this is held together by God in just perfect harmony, I'm part of that.
Yeah.
And my perception of scarcity is an illusion that I need to break when I realize there is no such thing as scarcity.
I love that.
So I don't know.
Scarcity is an illusion we can break. And I don't know if you noticed this, but I'm taking notes. I'm writing as fast as I can because almost every single word out of your mouth, I'm like, yes, yes, yes. I just really want to capture these thoughts. They're so brilliant. And it's really interesting. I met my husband in Austin, Texas. We went to UT.
No, you did not. No way. That's fantastic.
Yeah, and it's really interesting. I now live outside of Sacramento, California, and I'm in a rural area where everybody's on a minimum of 10 acres. And so I go walking in the mornings too, and there's no sidewalk. So every time I hear a car coming, me and my walking buddy step off to the side of the road, and I always wave at my neighbors. I want to send them off to school or work with love and blessings. And just a few days ago, I'm walking and I'm waving at this car, and often the sun hits their windscreen just right that I can't see through the windshield. I'm not sure who's in the car, but I'm just waving anyway and smiling. Well, as I was waving, I felt this intense rush of love and appreciation for everyone in the car, just so immense. It was amazing. This incredible love. And of course, the car goes by. And as the car goes by, I feel the people in the car push back with a response. How can you love me when you don't even know me? And something spoke through my body back to them that said, I must love you before I can know you.
That's deep.
Yeah. I came to a complete stop and I was like, whoa. And my walking buddy said, what? What? I told her what had just happened. And it's just amazing how connected we actually are. And we are so connected through love of what you like to do and how you like to apply yourself, and for love in making a difference with others, empowering them, uplifting them, educating so that they can actually do more with their lives. Now, you've been doing this for quite some time and you're awfully good at it. I'm sure that you've noticed certain areas where people get stuck. You know, they hit a roadblock. What generally is going on and where are they stuck?
Oh my gosh, I can talk about this all day.
Good.
Where do I start? Okay. Okay. Let me just pick an area because there's like 4 angles that I can think of even right away.
Awesome.
Okay, let me pick 2 areas. Okay, let me pick 2 areas just because I feel like this is probably going to help the people listening. One is this. One is those of us who have this fire in our belly to achieve and to progress, and you know what I'm talking about. We have a drive. There's a difference between people with drive and people who don't necessarily feel that way all the time. But some of us can't help ourselves, and I'm one of those people. So I'm speaking to myself in the past. Actually, I'm speaking to myself in the present as well. Here's what happened. We decide to do something. Let's say we decide to pursue a specific type of career, right? Let's say we started something sort of normal. I'm not choosing somebody like myself who's just weird, right? And like pursues music. I mean, who does that, especially after getting a degree in economics? But let's say engineering. Let's say something very normal. You pursue engineering. You graduate. You go and start working. And you become better and better and better. So your environment will reward your outer game very, very fast and very quickly and very often, right? So it's results, reward, respect, status, money, advancements in career, bigger projects, more interesting projects. That's what happens. The world and your environment will not reward immediately or quickly or obviously even things like integrity, deep relationships, friendship, a good marriage, good parenting, overcoming obstacles, a spiritual life, and an integrated life where there's the physical and the emotional and the spiritual are well nurtured. Those things don't get rewarded. So what happens is, because you're rewarded for one thing, you start doing it more. You double down on it, and you become more outward focused. Your outer game grows. Your inner game is underdeveloped. Eventually, you hit a wall because it catches up with you, and your inner game, your flat sides, now catch up with you to a degree where even your outer game cannot be performed at the level that you want to or longer, and that's when you have your first sort of wake up call. And it could be early, it could be midlife, whatever. So that's one way people get stuck, right? Inner game, outer game. The second way people get stuck is in between seasons of life. So especially in vocation, right, in work, I see 4 seasons. One is the season of student, right? You go to school, you go to high school, you go to college. You're really not participating in life as a full-blown adult. You're observing it and you're learning sort of some of the things about it. Then you become a practitioner, right? Let's say that young engineer enters a firm and they're a practitioner. A practitioner straight out of college doesn't have many skills. That maybe they have some knowledge but not a lot of skills. They think they know the 5 things that they need to know to be a professional, but you actually need to know 50 things, right? Then, as you progress, let's give it a decade, you become now a master at the thing. And the master at the thing is the person who now has some respect, probably is in a leadership position of some sort, a management position, etc. Maybe you're the CEO or VP. But then after that, you transition into a fourth season, which is sage. The sage is the person who doesn't want to build anymore. They want legacy. They want to help others. They want significance. So those 4 seasons are always the in-between season period is the hardest part. People get stuck in between, right? So as you can see, the young engineer graduated from college. They were a student, now they're a practitioner, and there's all kinds of things they realize they have no idea about. It's very hard. Then they're getting really much better, but they're not getting the respect, the salary, the status that they think they deserve, because now they're approaching master. How do you make that leap? They get stuck there. And then the master gets stuck again, because they realize that all they have done their whole lives is build stuff. And somehow that muscle, that desire fades, but a new desire emerges, is of legacy and significance. And they don't know how to do that. They know how to build, but they don't know how to do legacy. So in between the seasons, that's where people get stuck most of the time.
Ah, such a brilliant answer. That was really clear. That was really concise, really amazing. You know, I had an experience just last year that blew me away. I was in my kitchen doing some dishes, and I was just kind of musing over, you know, sometimes you've got a project that you're working on and it comes together so easy. It's just a breeze, it's a snap, it's no big deal. And then there's other times when you're working on a project and it is a freaking slog. It doesn't matter what you do. You hit roadblock, problem, challenge, issue. It's just so frustrating. And I was just kind of musing over, I wonder why that happens. And I immediately felt and heard a very loud, forceful voice in my body that said, when you deny your power is denied to you. When you acknowledge your power is shown to you. You are more powerful than you can imagine. And I was like, whoa, dried my hands, wrote it down. How am I denying my power? I don't want to do that anymore. And I realized over time, and a lot of thinking and asking the divine, often it's the words I use. There's a reason why we chose the intention we chose, because based on the thoughts, words, and actions we use, we can create a positive impact in the world, or we can cut ourselves off at the knees. And it's so interesting to me how even very talented people can accidentally sabotage themselves, because what they're used to is so familiar and so comfortable, they're just leery of moving forward. Now, one of the things that I've noticed, and I'm sure you have too, every time I want to make that shift, I want that external world to change, like I want to go from master to sage, something has to change inside me before that transformation happens. What have you noticed? Your clients have to be willing to shift.
Well, I think, the first thing is they need to acknowledge, they need to be able to accept and then communicate vulnerability and lack of certainty and weakness. And especially between the season of master to sage, right? Why? Because you are used to respect. You have status. You're accomplished. And yet to transition into this new level of existence, this new chapter that is it's perfect for you, you need to acknowledge that you just don't know how to do that yet. But you have this inner shift, right? And I see that all the time. So I have, I'll give you 2 or 3 examples. One is this gentleman, and he's built a really, really strong, very successful accounting firm. And you can see his irritation. The thing that gave him so much joy as in the season of mastery now irritates him, because he understands that it's just the joy is out of it because the season is new. And then he goes, I don't understand the new generation, the people that work for me. I don't know how to connect with them. I feel like I need to be doing other things. I'm more anxious and unsatisfied when I used to be satisfied all the time with the things that I do. And then somebody comes in because he built a really strong organization and offers to buy his practice. And they buy his practice, and he just does not know what to do with himself next, because his whole identity is wrapped into the master, the builder phase, because he's building this thing. Now this thing is so successful that somebody offers him a lot of money for it, and he goes, "That sounds great! What an achievement!" And then it's immediately, I don't know what to do now, right? It requires vulnerability. It requires, I talked to a friend here. I'm sort of transitioning into the next story, who is sort of in that same general transition, where you can tell that the building is no longer exciting. And this is a gentleman who manages billions and billions and billions of dollars for people. And so we talk quite a bit, and he's one of those sort of all access clients, right? The elite client. And he goes, how do I handle this? I feel very anxious every day. And I basically said, look, you've invested in this relationship with me, and I know these other two people that you're close to. You need to be okay with being needy.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And it was so liberating to him to hear that, because this is a very important person, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And that can be a jail in itself, right? The status. And he needs to give himself permission to just be needy. And it's not going to last for long, because you're just learning new things, learning how to transition to a new chapter.
Yes, so true.
And that's gonna be one of the most helpful things for him, right?
Yeah.
So I can go on and on, but these are good illustrations, I think, that are practical.
It's so true. I liken it to climbing a set of stairs. You're climbing those stairs and you're working really hard to get up the stairs, and you finally hit a landing and you're huffing and puffing because you finally made it. Then there's so much relief. And then you hang out there for a while and it becomes really familiar and you're comfortable and confident with that landing. And then you become so confident and comfortable that it gets really boring. There's nothing stimulating about it anymore.
Yeah.
And you have to find the next set of stairs, because there's always a next set of stairs. Life is truly the ultimate infomercial. But wait, there's more. There's more growth. There's more legacy. There's more impact. There's more everything.
Yeah.
Wow. I love where you're going with this, and you're so articulate. This is really fabulous. So for those of us who want to move forward, what are one or two baby steps that we could take that would get us going on the right track?
Well, I would say, just first of all, develop some sort of transcendent practice, right? And the reason I insist on that is because if you want to develop any kind of objectivity about your journey, how you feel right now, where are you going, why are you going there, what do you not like about this, you have to figure out this. You have to develop a skill called meta-cognition, right? And meta-cognition is being able to think about how you think, almost like think about outside of yourself, looking over yourself. And that's not normal for human beings. Most of us are 90% operating on autopilot. So developing a daily practice that allows you, gives you the capability to be metacognitive more than not, is the number one thing. Because even if I talk to you, I won't be able to give you the exact same thing that's happening and what to do, unless you have the capability to communicate to me some of the metacognitive stuff that you need to experience, right? So I'll give you an example from my life, actually, and this actually is really good. It's a great example on people who feel it's not necessarily a seasonal thing, but it's really more a lateral move, or maybe like an elevation of what you do diversification of what you do. So I am in my mid-20s, and I am at the peak of my career. I mean, I'm going from city to city. I'm actually going on tour on a train, sitting in the train car. My entourage, I traveled at the time with maybe like 20 people or so. They were somewhere else, I don't know, maybe eating in the restaurant car. And I'm alone, and I'm looking out the window, and I'm going, man, this is incredible. I'm playing sports arenas. You know, millions of people know my songs. And then this thought comes to me, is this all there is for me? And it was a startling thought, because for a musician, I was living the dream that most musicians will never live. Like, most people don't get to this level of success, in the arts especially. And yet I had this deep sense of dissatisfaction, a metacognitive sense of dissatisfaction. And instead of sort of shutting it down, going, "What, you are an ungrateful idiot. How can you think that, right? You have the world, you know, you're living the life." I allowed myself to sort of continue in this train of thought, and I realized this. So for me specifically, and this, a different set of metrics and insights would apply to you, but this is what it felt like for me, and I think you can translate into your reality. I was doing music. I was doing music across 15 different countries. And I was employing my creativity, my voice, my showmanship, my performance capabilities, even to a large degree, my entrepreneurial capabilities, because it is an entrepreneurial sort of journey. But there are parts of me that were dormant in that particular vocation, right? What were they? Well, I was in Eastern Europe. That was sort of the area that knew me and that I was successful in. But I grew up on 4 continents, 6 countries. This is my 6th country and my 4th continent. So by the time I was probably 5 countries, 3 continents. I speak 4 languages. I have a master's degree in economics. All of those areas were dormant in that particular vocation. So some people might go, well, too bad for you. You're doing well. Just, keep moving. And for me, I was just dissatisfied. The other part was that I wanted to build a family. And I come from 3 generations of broken homes. And I had a profound intention to be able to be the best husband and parent. And I knew that the lifestyle would definitely clash with that. And I was actually totally okay with changing my vocation if that meant that I can achieve that goal. That was more important than the music career. So I went to do philanthropy. There's all kinds of layers, and I was thinking, yeah, these things are important to me. They come from the bottom of who you are, from the center of who I am, and I won't be able to see those things come to fruition if I stay on this track, even though this is a very exciting track. So I basically thought about it some more. It was pretty scary, and I told my entourage, hey, I'm going to probably transition out of this in the next few years. I'm going to be a responsible adult. I'm not, their livelihoods depend on this thing that I do, right? So, and yeah, it was very painful, very scary, because you don't know if you're going to succeed in another endeavor the way you succeeded in this one. It's also relationally hard because people think you're out of your mind, right? But have I not made that move, I wouldn't have started, 3 companies, one of which failed in the US. I wouldn't have started 2 nonprofits. I wouldn't have served kids in Mozambique and Africa through my organization, Ascend Academy. I wouldn't have spoken on spiritual retreats and churches in 4 different languages all over the world. I wouldn't have helped thousands of kids in inner city United States. I wouldn't have helped the refugees in Ukraine when the war broke out. None of those things would have actually been in place if I hadn't listened to myself be dissatisfied, even on paper, in a place of success. On the surface, it was success. In depth, long term, it was not. So the first step, again, full circle, meta-cognition, right? Listen to the whisper of your soul. When you have this whisper going, there's more. listen to that, because it's going to scare you to death, but it might lead you to places that you haven't even dreamt of before.
Oh, I love this. Listen to the whispers of your soul. Man, such good stuff. I could keep you here all day, Christian, because honestly, this is just fabulous. You very generously offered a wonderful free gift to the audience. Could you tell us a little bit about it?
Okay, I don't know exactly what you refer to, but I have a few that I can offer.
Well, let me tell you.
Tell me, remind me.
Exactly what you said.
What did I say?
I want to make sure that we're kind of in alignment. You have a scorecard on
That
your
one,
website.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for
I'll
reminding
make
me.
sure that the URL, the link is going to be in the show notes so everybody can find it and everybody can take advantage of this. It really looks cool.
Yes. So basically, this is a tool that I use. It's based on a lot of research. I developed it, and it's based on a lot of research that I didn't even do. Other people that are way smarter than me did. And it's a scorecard that asks you around 40 plus questions, takes about 7-8 minutes to complete. But it asks you this on the surface, simple questions. But what it comes down to is the most important dimensions in life that are responsible for you for the people that are happier, live longer, they're healthier, they're wealthier. All of that is encoded in the questions, right? So when you answer those questions, you get a report in your inbox, and you literally can see it's very clear. And on the surface, it looks super simple, but in reality, this is profound stuff.
Yeah, sure sounds like it can reveal what's missing, right?
Exactly. The scorecard of your life, and you can see, I'm doing really well here, but I have these and these dimensions that I need to work on. And okay, what am I going to do about that? So that's the scorecard, and you can find it at exponential.life. Exponential is spelled without the E, so exponential.life.
Oh, beautiful. So amazing. Now, one of the things that we always do here at the Abundance Journey, we turn the tables on our guests, because we know that when we give is when we truly receive the most. So what can we do to support you?
Oh, wow. Spread the word. You know what would be cool? If you can find my Substack newsletter. The URL is christianrayflores.com, so my name. I pour my heart into that newsletter. It's 2 newsletters a week. One is for everybody. It's absolutely free. The other one's for people who choose to become paid subscribers. And I put there all of the best stuff, quite literally the best interviews, the best podcasts, not only mine, but other people's, lists of books, resources, insights. So I invest a lot of effort and time. We have around 20,000 subscribers. So I would love to gain maybe a couple of hundred just from this one conversation, right?
Oh,
so
yeah.
If you
I'm signing up right away. I am, because honestly, the wisdom you shared with us today, I've got 4 pages of notes. More than that, 5 pages. Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, the value that you so generously shared with us today, I cannot thank you enough for taking the time.
Thank you, Elaine. You're very kind. Thank you. Just
spectacular. I've got my work cut out for me, though, because you said so many brilliant things, and I have to pick just one to do the Activate Abundance segment around. So yeah, that's going to be a head scratcher, but wow, thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks, Elaine. Thanks for having me.
All right, stick around. We're going to activate abundance in just a moment. Hi, it's Elaine Starling, the Abundance Ambassador. And I know since you're listening to this show or watching this show, The Abundance Journey, you really want to experience more abundance in your life. Well, that's why I wrote the book, 5 Steps to Activate Your Abundance. It's available for sale right now from Amazon, from barnesandnoble.com, and many international sellers. And I want you to pick up a copy because I'm really opening the kimono here and sharing all of the information you need to experience abundance in every single aspect of your life. The book's divided into 3 parts. Part 1 is called Meeting the Divine. This is where I share my near-death experience and the conversation I got to have with our higher power during my stroke. In Part 2, Messages from the Divine, I share the best practices that I was given, the secret sauce in how life actually works. And so you understand really why you're here and how you can make the most of your life. So you love every single moment. And then in the part 3 is partnering with the divine. That's where I go into each of the 5 steps to activate your abundance and explain exactly why it works so well. So take a moment to pick up a copy. It's available as an ebook, a paperback book, an audiobook, and a video course. So however you like to absorb information, abundance is waiting for you. Wow. Christian Ray Flores, I am blown away. The information he gave us. Step 1 to activate abundance is always gratitude. Gratitude is the acorn of your abundance tree. Gratitude is the ignition switch to higher consciousness. Everything you want starts with gratitude. So I am incredibly grateful for all of the brilliance that Christian shared with us today. Honestly, this guy rocks. Step 2, acknowledge something you heard that was an aha for you. And he just really nailed so many great things. The one that I was just totally blown away by, the vulnerability piece. Oh man, we all have this challenge, right? You work really hard to get to a certain level of mastery. You feel like you've figured stuff out. You've got your processes, you've got your systems, you've got things that work, and you don't really want people pushing back on you all the time, right? And you don't want to admit when there's something missing. But that being willing to be vulnerable, it makes everything work. Byron Katie has some brilliant training about vulnerability and how leaders who are willing to be vulnerable are infinitely more effective and successful. Christian just nailed that. So what I want to acknowledge is how important it is for all of us to remember to remain vulnerable, even when you think you already know the answer. What if you could get an even better answer? So step 3 is to appreciate the difference it makes in your life. When I'm willing to show up and be vulnerable and open, what does that do? It immediately makes it safe for you to be vulnerable and open too. It unites us. It connects us. It creates a safe space for everybody. Nobody's busy trying to prove they're better than somebody else. No, we're all here supporting each other and lifting each other up. And how does that feel? Instead of constantly competing and arguing and fighting your way to the top, you're empowering, uplifting, inspiring, and supporting everybody, including yourself, to achieve more with your life. Love that vulnerability, man. It is the ultimate strength. Wrap your head around that one. All right, step 4, we're going to activate abundance. I've found 3 different ways to take a concept like being vulnerable and turn it into an actual, tangible, physical thing. Okay. So the first way is schedule time to get it done. Those daily spiritual transformational practices, super, super, super important. Now I include journaling under this category of scheduling time to get it done. Because if you don't put it on your calendar, you're not going to do it. You're busy. You've got a lot of responsibilities. And when you journal, you can take all that stuff that's happening in your mind and your head, get it down on paper. And that's when you can get that objective meta-cognition going so that you understand really what those hidden drivers are, where you truly do feel vulnerable and where you're willing to grow, being open and ready to receive. Super powerful. The second way to activate abundance is create a physical trigger, like crossing your fingers or tugging on your earlobe as a reminder, I'm going into this meeting with a bunch of high power people and I choose to be vulnerable and loving in every single moment. I am going to reflect back, acknowledging people for their contribution and appreciating the difference that it makes over and over again to let them know that they're in a safe space. And I'm going to ask them questions with open vulnerability, trusting that the perfect answers and ideas will be revealed to me. Every single moment is an opportunity to be a blessing when I step in with a state of grateful curiosity and vulnerability. Use that physical trigger. Great reminder. The third way to activate abundance is to work with what I call an abundance buddy. Most people call them accountability buddies, but this is somebody who really gets you, who knows you. And you say, look, I want to be more vulnerable. I want to be more open. I choose to live my life as someone who is continually learning and growing in every situation. So they know what you're committed to, and they will call you on your stuff lovingly, supportively, to remind you, hey, you seem to be a little defensive here. That didn't come across as all that vulnerable. Is there something that you're resisting? Is there something that's causing this friction for you? So that you can step back and go recommit to vulnerability. Because, honey, this is not a one and done. This is a life that is continually unfolding. And so when you recommit and recommit and recommit to showing up in vulnerable perfection, that's when the blessings come through. Step 5, celebrate your progress. This is a joyous unfolding of abundance. That's what your life is all about. How incredible that in this amazing infomercial, but wait, there's more. You can receive open-heartedly when you're willing to be vulnerable and live in that space of deep love and appreciation. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'll see you next time for the Abundance Journey.
You've been listening to the Abundance Journey Show with Elaine Starling. Visit theabundancejourney.com/podcast gifts to access today's gift, as well as gifts from our other guests. Tune in every week to activate abundance in your life and business. If something resonated with you, please share it with your friends so they can benefit too. Keep activating abundance, and we'll see you in the next episode.